Good evening, everyone. How the devil are you? It's Friday once again. Us happy bunch are gathering once again for the beers. Cheers, everyone. I don't know if you heard there, but Dougal is getting quite restive downstairs, and yes, he may make an appearance at some point. So how is everyone? As I always say, Friday always seems eons away when you wake up with that Monday morning hangover. But it soon comes round, doesn't it? And thank you, everyone, for the birthday wishes. I had a fantastic day on my birthday, not least of which because a guitar arrived, a new guitar, which I'm not going to show you. Not the acoustic, although that was a little birthday present to myself. I've had another little birthday present to myself, but I'm going to keep the identity of that guitar under wraps. Although I see there's someone in the chat who knows exactly what the guitar is because that's the person I bought it from. But we'll say no more about it. You'll see more in due course. Yes, so I had a fantastic birthday. I was on the beer by 10:30 in the morning, and the rock and roll party animal that I am, I spent the whole day binge watching box sets of Happy Valley, which for those of an international persuasion, if you don't know Happy Valley, it's a British TV drama, police drama, and it is well worth checking out if you can stream it in your part of the world. Let's have a look, as is customary around about this time of the evening, to see who was first in and who we've got in the chat. So I see we've got Sometimes Dim, Never Thin was first in this week. Is that a first for you, mate? I can't recall that I've ever called your name out first in the past, but there you go, first in this week, straight out the traps. Then we've got Johnny H and PFY Guitars and Peter Nicholson. There's Anton and Johnny Random and Balder. Dave Lewis is there, so is Rent to Kill and Grandpa Joe. And Peter Nicholson is in, so is Dr. Gomez 1 and Cylon Hybrid. Scrolling down, I can see we've got Derek Clacton and Mark Kerno and Terry Day. There's John Ross and Gordo Canuck and Edwin Toonan. And who else have we got? We've got Balder in there, if I haven't mentioned you already. I think I did. Vincent Brennan. David Evans, Michael Belliveau, and who else we got? Chip Young and Michael Purcell. Then scrolling down, we've got Cornucopia, and who's in love with Harley Benton guitars. They're easy to love, I find. Then who else have we got? We've got just waiting for it to fill up. We've got Stratboy 999 and Robert Galbraith, and moving down a bit further, we've got Cal B and the Rocco Cat and Steve Muskie. How are you, Muskie? Deco Dude is in, so is Rexamatic. Greetings from Phoenix. I should be practicing. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, namely here. Pour yourself a cold one. Then we've got Fiend Tunes and Chip Young. David James, Dave Fiendish rather, and 60s Man is there. And who else we got? We've got David Collins and John Mack. And Paul Trainer BSC, the resident bass player. Then Chris Otterwell and Brad Matthews and SW is in. I should say are in. Moving down the chat, I can see we've got James Hunt and have I said reeled in 58? If I haven't, I just have. Then Malcolm Spillett. And who else we got? Let's scroll down. John Channing, Thomas Mulvaney, Mike Hurley, the Essex Cat, and then scrolling down a bit further, see we've got Dan in from Scott Guitars. Nice to see you in, Dan. A little bit of news concerning Dan coming up. I'm not going to say too much, but just enough to whet your appetite. Then we've got Liam Smith and Peter Shields and Colin Falcon, regular round these parts. There's Steve Cassidy Guitar. And who else have we got? Let's scroll down. Stuart Young and Cool Cat is in. Bass at Night, Jeff C. And then we've got On the Fritz 602 and Ben Allmark and Nigel Arthur wishing us all happy Friday. There's Das Schaff and Spooks Hill Joe. And who else is in? We've got SQ and Graham James and Rick Cookson, Andy Harris, Lawrence Hastings, William Forrest, Nigel Critton, Michael Palmer is in. Nice to see you there, Michael. Then let's have a look further down. We've got Cape Cod Dog, and then we've got Tom, aka Frank Conlon, saying, hello all, watched some of John's videos before, didn't know he did live streams. Been doing them, it's getting on for 3 years now, mate. It's become a regular part of my Friday evening. And then we've got, let's have a look, we've got Fretwork Band and Timbo Rough Cuts, Gary Shaw, nice to see you in, Gary. And who else have we got? Let's just keep on scrolling down. I don't want to spend the whole hour reading out the register, but we got Maxter 1878, Warren Reed, and Frank Bolam, and Maria Davies. Apologies if I've missed you out there, but I do like to try and as I say, not spend the whole hour, kind of just reading out a list of names. If I've missed you, it's not because, I intentionally did so. It's just, I'm getting old. I got a year older last week. In fact, I'm now officially closer to 60 than I am to 50. But hey ho, it's just a number, isn't it? And let's also deal with a little bit of housekeeping. Usually around about this time, I update you on what's coming up on the channel this week. No Saturday video this week. As I say, I save those for special occasions. So we're kicking off again on Sunday. And it's the full-on review of that Donna Les Paul copy kind of thing, that bolt-on Les Paul budget guitar from Donna that you saw me unboxing a little while ago, that now is no longer here. It's since gone to a new home with Johnny from Budget Guitar Show. I was just getting overrun with guitars here, and I just thought, basically a lot of people helped me out when I first started putting videos up. I had people donating guitars to me and stuff, so I thought it was time to just pass it on a little bit and pass on the good fortune. And I think Johnny was quite impressed with it. I loved his video, by the way. Did you see that? Can you hear your Dougal in the background, by the way, as well? Sounds like he's being a bit restless downstairs. So that's Sunday's video. Then on Monday, as usual, a solo analysis, and it's a bit of a first for me because it's a solo from a band that are notorious for getting your videos demonetized. But this time they didn't. It kind of slipped in under the radar. Let's just say it's a classic solo from the 70s featuring Joe Walsh and Don Felder and the band they were in at the time. And we won't mention any more than that because it's still monetized at the moment. We shall see if that changes. So that's Monday's video. Then Tuesday is part 2 of the video that you saw last Tuesday, where I'm talking completely off topic about movies, some of my favorite movies. I am a bit of a movie buff. I'm not like one of these people that can go into all kinds of detail about every director's cut version of this movie or that movie or film, if some people prefer. I did get somebody saying you should call them films rather than movies. It's the two terms are interchangeable. Anyway, it's part 2 of that video on Tuesday. Then a video on Wednesday that I've been thinking about doing for a while because I've heard so much stuff about this. We know all about the tone wood debate. Is your guitar tone affected by the timber that the guitar is made from? Some say yes, some say no, and there's always it's always a sort of bipolar, binary position, that isn't it? There's never any grey area, according to some people. Well, another one that I've started hearing about recently is that the type of pick you use affects your guitar tone. So we're going to check that out on Wednesday. I'm going to be using like a regular plastic kind of pick. a nylon pick, and a bunch of other picks. I even use a coin at one point to go for that sort of Brian May sort of thing. And basically you can hear whether or not it makes any difference at all to the recorded tone of the guitar. Then on Thursday, we're looking at, well, it's the unboxing of the new acoustic guitar that you may have seen me ordering yesterday. It's here, and it's really rather good, I've got to tell you. But you'll find out exactly how good and what may or may not be wrong with it in terms of shortcomings. You'll find that out on Thursday when I do the unboxing, and that is what's coming up on the live stream. No, on the channel this week. Excuse me, I've been talking for a little while now. I need some lubrication. Yes. Now let's have a look. See what's been going on in the chat. Yeah, I saw that, Boulder. Yeah, Colin guitarist to give a good reason why not to buy a Fender today. Yeah, I mean, I've never had a player Telecaster, but I have had a player Strat. And the thing about that guitar was I literally couldn't find anything wrong with it, but I couldn't find a reason to love it either. It just felt, well, yeah. And I mean, when was that back in about? I think it was 2021. I had the player Strat, and it was, I think, $499 I paid for it. You can add another 100 at least to the price of them now, and I just think there's more engaging guitars for less money. If you like Strats and you're not bothered about the name on the headstock, then get one of those Sire S7s behind me. If you don't like the humbucker and the bridge, they do a 3 single coil version. That was the guitar that I bought after I got rid of the Fender, and it was cheaper than the Fender, and for me it's a far better guitar. So yeah, I saw Colin's video while I was here tabbing out the solo from earlier. Let's see what else we've been talking about in the chat. Submariners play a life in the fast lane, indeed. I've heard that Dave the Week can also affect the guitar tone. Is it the one about the fancy bed and breakfast place in America, referring to the solo? No, I did that solo ages ago, way before even this channel was monetized. I did that solo then. Is it worth me revisiting it? Shall I do a revisit on that? Now I've got a bigger audience, because I could probably do a better version of the solo. And because I've learned a better version of the video as well, because I've learned, I like to think in, what was it now? It's getting on for 5 years since I started putting videos on YouTube in 2008, but I would do like 1 or 2 a year or something like that. And then in 2018, I started taking it a little bit more seriously. So it's coming up, well, it is 5 years now. I think it was the beginning of 2018 when I first started really kind of thinking, right, I'm going to do this regularly. I'm going to kind of crank out the content. But I think that Hotel California solo was from before that. So I could probably do a better job on the video these days. So if you want me to do that solo again, I will. But it is a solo off that album. It is a solo off the first side of that album. It's life in the fast lane. What the hell? So let's watches and guitars. What are you saying there, mate? Recently I've changed picks to Dunlop Tortex. Used to D'Addario, find them much better to play with. Not sure about the tone though. Yeah, I've for a long time been a devotee, and I can't find them because, like every plectrum always does, they disappear. Where are they? No, can't see one anywhere. I'm going to have to order some more. I've got some in a little tin over there, but I'm not going to go and dig that out. I like Jim Dunlop nylon Jazz 3s. I find them just a great pick for strumming and for kind of playing lead and stuff like that. It's just that they're a great all-round pick. I use them even when I'm playing bass, if I'm doing a bass part that uses a pick. you know, and the only thing they're not very good for, like any nylon pick, is that sort of pick scrape down the strings. But that's, when was the last time you saw me do that? It's just not part of my toolkit that I tend to do that. It's behind you, says Steve Cassidy. Right. Deco Dude is saying, try a Dunlop thick pick, the ones you can see through. A stubby. Yes, I've got one of those over here somewhere. Hang on. It's falling on the floor. There it is. Yeah, these are great. If I was... Anything is a compromise, isn't it? You know, but I find these preferable for playing lead with, but I find them a bit sort of... they're just... They're not great for strumming for me anyway. Your mileage may vary, but you know, I do prefer them to you know, for playing lead. But if I just want a good all-round pick for just general everything I'm going to do, then you know, it's the Dunlop Jazz 3. Chip Young is saying, how do you stop a 1.38 gauge pick from dragging? Do you mean kind of getting caught up in the strings? It's all about the grip. I think, you know, this is something I talk about with my students a lot of the time. You know, you can put the flexibility. Let's see if I can. Oh, I've got one here. Here we go. Stuck on the bit of gaffer tape there. So it's all about the flexibility. Okay, a thin pick is more flexible, and a thick pick isn't. But you can build the flexibility in by holding it lightly. So that gives me a lot of flexibility there. And then I can, when I don't want it to be a flexible pick, I just hold it a little bit more tightly. And, you know, so it's like, it makes the amount of flexibility in the pick sort of variable. Does that make sense? So that's how I, you know, kind of get around the whole kind of thing. If you find that that the only way you can stop your pick kind of dragging across the strings and being, you know, getting caught up in the strings, if the only way you can get rid of that is to use a thinner pick, then try using a thicker pick, but get into the habit of, excuse me, hiccups, of holding it a little bit more loosely. That would be my advice. There we go. The first one never touches the sides, does it? Michael Broadhead. Hi, John. More favourite movie vids, please. How about your favourite films specifically about popular music? My top pick would be Coal Miner's Daughter about Loretta Lynn. Yeah, I remember seeing that years ago. I'm always a bit nervous, actually, about doing these videos where I'm kind of talking about off-topic things. And by off-topic things, I mean stuff that isn't, you know, guitar or music related. The channel is, after all, called John Robson Guitarist. But if the demand is there, you know, I'll happily do that. You know, I mean, the top 5 video that everybody keeps suggesting is, why don't I do me top 5 beers? That one is definitely going to happen, by the way. Excuse me, talking. By the way, this evening's stream of verbal diarrhea is brought to you courtesy of Heineken once again. Although the nice man from Asda only brought 1 crate of it this week. I usually go through 2 crates of beer on a weekend, which, for my shame, you know, it's yes, whatever. Okay, judge me, don't judge me. I don't care. I like a beer on a weekend, and the weekend tends usually to end round about Tuesday and start again round about Wednesday. Yeah. Anyway. So I've got. I had to go out and buy some kind of supplementary weekend refreshment. When was it? Yesterday, I think. And so the back end of the weekend will be taken care of by Carlsberg Export. I Balder, Ice Cold in Alex, the Carlsberg scene. Yes, that's you know, the thing that I did Well, I haven't watched them all yet, but after making that list, it sort of brought back all the memories of of those movies that I talked about, and so I've watched a couple of them again, including Ice Cold and Alex. But if you want me to do more of this kind of off-topic stuff about stuff that I tend to do or tend to enjoy when I'm not playing the guitar, I mean, another thing I'm really into is I like a good trashy adventure novel. I really do. I don't read to be enlightened or to be educated. I read as a form of relaxation, just escapism, and a good trashy adventure novel. And I've got the new Lee Child, Jack Reacher, to start on. That's my kind of level of literary kind of kind of level. Basically, it's Jack Reacher. Back in the day, it used to be Tom Clancy. Interestingly, he's still writing novels from beyond the grave, I noticed. God, that dog needs to shut up. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's really going for it downstairs. But yeah, that tends to be my literary entertainment. So Mills and Boon, no. My granny used to read Mills and Boon. Mills and Boon and Catherine Cookson were her favourites. Budget Guitar Show, Still Crazy is a great movie. Yeah, that's the one with, is that the one with Jimmy Nail and Billy Connolly in it? I think I saw that not too long ago, actually. Let's see what else we've got in the chat. Malcolm Spillett is saying, by the way, the Sire H7 is great and a bargain at 350. Yeah, well, I just sold my Sire H7. I got a little bit more for it than that. It used, so I just wasn't using it. It was a lovely guitar, and every time, a bit like that Ert headless guitar, lovely guitar. Every time I picked it up, I think, why do I not play this more often? And then I put it down, and I pick up Blondie, who is I can't show you Blondie this evening, by the way. There will be no gratuitous Blondie shot because she's over there on the workbench. I've been kind of spending a bit of time today, kind of investigating the wiring issue that's gone in there. It's just fair wear and tear. So I haven't got to the bottom of it yet, but I will. Talking of Blondie, my signature guitar, she may be getting a sister sometime soon. Dan knows all about this. What's he saying? Isle of Noises by Daniel Rachel is a great book about songwriting. I can recommend it. I'll check that out, mate. Blondie, the signature guitar from Scott Guitars UK, is going to be getting a little sister, a brunette, sort of slightly hollow little sister with, well, I won't say any more than that. But yeah, that is going to be one of the lovely guitars that's coming up on the channel, and amongst a couple of others, actually. Those of a more observant nature will notice something slightly different about the back wall behind me. You may be seeing something different there. If you can spot what the difference is between what you're seeing now and what you've seen in recent weeks, then leave your comments in the chat. Basically, let's have a look. Oh, Chip Young's saying, wait till I bring my Sheraton up for you to review. Thank you, mate. Yeah, if you're up for it, yeah, come on. Let's get me mucky paws on it. I did I was going to say I did a review on a Sheraton. I didn't do a review on a Sheraton, but I played a Sheraton back in the days when when if you were really on the cutting edge of modern technology, if you owned one of those newfangled DVD players back in about 1999, one of my students brought a Sheraton to a lesson, and left it with me because it needed a bit of TLC. It needed like a little bit of, I think, a truss rod adjustment, basically a bit of a basic setup. And I remember playing it then and thinking, this is a really nice guitar. And you know, I don't know why it's never been one that I've encountered since. We're drinking and we're supposed to be observant too. Dr. Gomez has got it, yes. Anton's got it. Chris Ottewell's got it. A few people have got it. A new bass, yes, indeed. I've got a new bass. You've done some dusting, says Steve Cassidy guitar. Never, not in this lifetime. No. It's who was it who said the thing? I mean, you know, I'm not quite this bad, but I think I remember a famous quote. I think it was from Quentin Crisp, who said the thing is, when it comes to dusting and cleaning your house, after 3 months, it never gets any worse. So don't bother. I'm not quite that bad, but you know, I'm not. You know, what was she called, that woman in that sitcom, Hyacinth Bouquet? You know, I'm not like that either. I'm not kind of overly house proud. It gets to a point where it gets on me wires, gets on me thruppy bits a little bit, and then I'll spend a day kind of, you know, going through the house like a dose of salts, me and the missus. But then it just kind of gets to that. We let it get to that point again, is what I'm saying. You know, my old admin officer when I was at college, I was at a naval college. You know, he could always tell when, you know, when I'd run out of socks, because we used to have to live in for the first year, and there was a laundry on site, laundrette on site, and he said to me, he says, I can always tell when you know, when you've run out of socks, because you monopolise the laundrette. You know, if you've got 30 pairs of socks, there'll be 30 pairs of socks need washing before you go anywhere near the laundrette, which is sort of true. That is a bit of a thing with me, I'll admit. Judge or don't judge. It's up to you. Anton is saying, how about some bass lessons? Seriously interested. I've done a few videos on like the basics of playing bass. The problem with doing bass lessons is there are so many bass techniques that, you know, like, you know, you wouldn't offer guitar lessons if you couldn't do bar chords, you know, and I'm the sort of bass equivalent of the guitar player who can't really play bar chords. I can get by on bass, but anything where there needs to be a bit of the old kind of thumb action, the slappity poppity sort of stuff, then, you know, I'm out here. I'll tell you who is a great bass player though, and does do lessons. Maybe I should get him doing some bass lessons on the channel. Is my old pal Steve Hoggett. You know, Steve Hoggett, bass player, session musician, college lecturer, you know, studio owner, producer, you know, kind of man of many talents. I've got a video featuring Steve in production at the moment, where it's going to be basically my ham-fisted amateur mixing skills versus his pro mixing skills. We're both going to be doing a mix of the same track, and that's going to be an interesting one, actually. But yeah, Steve Hoggett, we should get him on the channel doing a few bass lessons. Steve, if you're watching, let me know. We'll talk, and maybe we can share the video across your channel and mine. Maybe there's got to be some way that we can figure it out. Let's have a look, see what else is going on. Oh, I see, I've got a super chat there from someone. Edwin Toonan. Hi, John. Since you drank Heineken, often I consider you half Dutch. Cheers, mate. Well, thank you very much, Edwin. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Yes, Quentin Crisp, the naked civil servant. Dougal is really going for it downstairs, by the way. That's the guy who made that comment about the household chores. Let's have a look. Let's see what else we've got to talk about, basically. David Evans, don't play bass like a guitar. Yes, indeed. You're not. the soloing instrument. Well, unless you are, Stanley, what's he called? Unless you're Jaco Pastorius. Let's have a look. Okie dokie, yes, a lot of comments there about the new bass. Thankfully, you can't see the headstock there, so you can't tell which one it is that I've bought, because I've done another one of those videos where I basically do a screen share, and it's like, shall I buy this one or shall I buy that one? So Stanley Clark, that's him. Peter Hook only plays bass solos. Yes, he does. But he seems to make it work, doesn't he? That was, that whole sort of Joy Division, New Order kind of way that the bass was used. I can't think that there were too many bands or with bass players who played like that before Peter Hook came along. I've got to tell you, they're not really a band that that really float my boat a lot. But you got to respect the fact that certainly Hooky was an innovator. John Mack is saying, have you heard of the budget Kemper from IK Multimedia, the Tonex? I would have had to have been hiding under a rock not to have heard of it. It's been across all of the, all the kind of what I call the sponsored YouTube channels this week. It's piqued my interest a little bit. I'll be honest with you, it has, because it's that thing, isn't it, of like the Kemper was like, the amp profiling kind of thing. And if you wanted that amp profiling capability, then you had to have a Kemper. And like with all of these things, the price comes down as the technology becomes more affordable. Am I interested in that, though? I gotta tell you, not really. Mainly because from the Andertons video that I saw, which wasn't particularly clear, I thought, it seems to me like you need Amplitube to get the most out of it. Now, I tried Amplitube, oh gosh, in the sort of mid-2000s, 2004-ish, roundabout then, and hated it. That possibly was more a product of the fact that I had a computer that wasn't really up to the task of handling software like Amplitube back then. But I tried it again a couple of years ago, and I didn't like it. And I didn't find the customer support when things weren't working particularly well with it. I didn't find the customer support particularly good. And this is customer support that they're offering to somebody that they knew had a YouTube channel and was going to do a review of it. Essentially, I did a review of the free version, didn't like it. They got in touch with me and offered me the full version if I would do if I wanted to review that. And basically, it didn't work, and they didn't have any solutions for why it wouldn't work. So, Amplitude, the whole kind of IK Multimedia Amplitube sort of thing, it left a very bitter taste, and I'm in no hurry to go back to check out any more of that company's offerings, to be honest with you. But the thing is, that amp profiling technology will kind of inevitably, I mean, when you think about when the first amp modelers came out, the first amp modeling sort of stuff, that was like, kind of so expensive that, you needed to be richer than Solomon to be able to buy it. You need to be kind of top tier, kind of pro level, kind of pro level earnings, basically, to get to be able to get that sort of thing. And now you can get, amp modelers that are essentially free, amp modeling software. I mean, one of my favorite free amp models, I don't use it much these days, but occasionally it gets an airing, is the Blue Cat free amp. Great Plexi plugin on that. And, you need to pair it up with an IR, though. But, but once upon a time, the point I'm making is that once upon a time, that would have been like seriously expensive, and now they give it away for free. So I'm sure the profiling kind of thing will end up getting there as well. I see you've got Timothy there saying hi from Chicago. Well, hello from Redcar on the North Yorkshire coast, mate. David K saying, have you seen Marshall reissued The Governor? Sounds pretty much the same. You've seen these? Also, I did see that, and I am tempted. I am very, very tempted. And have you had the Marshall fixed yet? No, I haven't. I haven't, mainly because A, I'm too busy, and B, I've got, well, spoiler alert, this is coming up on the channel. I've got this little beauty here, the Blue Guitar Amp 1, and that does the Marshall better than the Marshall does it. So I'm thinking, do I need the Marshall, really? It is a lovely amp, but it's, I'll get it fixed when I've got the time and the inclination to do so. But I mean, just I got to tell you, one reason I look forward to this Friday evening session with you chaps, and then like a kebab afterwards, and then I usually sit down in front of the TV and watch kind of old nostalgic TV on BritBox. Is because this Friday evening is my weekend. This is the only time off I really get, and it's a 70-hour week is entirely normal for me, more than a 70-hour week, and I'm not complaining. I love my job. I wouldn't trade places with anybody else, but spare time is at a premium, and spare time is what I need to kind of sort the Marshall out, really. I'm probably just going to have to contract that out and get somebody else to kind of do it. Maybe Clever Trevor on who was a bit of a legend on Teesside. Clever Trevor, the amp guy. Craig Stamen is saying, can't beat the blue amp. Yeah, well, thank you, Craig. You put me onto that one. Let's have a look. Dr. Gomez is saying, just got a new X Amp Academy pedal. It's absolutely fantastic. I barely scratched the surface of what it can do. Yeah, I did think about getting one of those. But it's like, I was thinking about something, because the new X Mighty plug was an absolutely fantastic piece of kit. It's, as I recall, it's about half the price of the Fender Mustang Micro headphone amp kind of thing, and it works, which the Fender one just didn't for me. Certainly didn't work as a USB interface. Clever Trevor, great idea for a solo analysis. Let me write that one down, mate. Yes, Clever Trevor. Clever Trevor solo. There we go. It's on the list, mate. Yeah. Johnny from Budget Guitar saying, I agree. I'm either making videos here, rehearsing with my band, or rehearsing with my duo. Spare time is at a minimum. It is a nice problem to have, though, isn't it? It's, I mean, the one thing I found really, really hard, like as I said last week, was I had a birthday last week. It was waking up on the morning and thinking, what work have I got to do today? Oh, that's right, none. And just that sort of that kind of mental process of switching off and kind of settling down in the armchair downstairs and not coming up here to make a video. That took a bit of adjustment. I did end up making a video though, and that's coming up in the next few weeks. Cal B is saying, barely a year old and the Marshall is buggered. Ouch. I don't think it is, mate. It's, it's probably just going to be the valves. I can't remember I know it's a 12AX7 in the preamp, and I can't remember what it is in the power amp. Somebody will enlighten me in the chat, because it just kind of started emitting, as I said, that because what else is there to go wrong, basically? other than the valves. But it just started emitting that, you know, when you plug a lead into an amp and you touch the end of the lead and you get that kind of loud buzzing sound. That was the noise it started making out of nowhere. It was switched on, but I wasn't using it. And it just started kind of screaming that noise at me at full volume. So I'm assuming it's probably going to be a valve. But that said, I've never had that symptom from a kind of knackered valve before. Usually it's either like a high-pitched whistle where like one of the preamp valves goes microphonic, or the best way to describe that when a power amp valve goes is it just sounds like distant gunshots, you know, that kind of or distant thunder, or like a rumbly kind of sound in the background. I've never had it just go from being completely fine to being kind of just not like that. So I suspect there may be more to it. The first step will be to get some new valves in it. I've ordered those, but they'll be turning up next week, hopefully. So we'll get the new valves in and see if that fixes it. But I suspect it might do, it might not. I'll keep you updated. Yeah, Robert Galbraith, possible capacitors or other. Yeah. Did you try the input jack first? Yes, I did. Any electrolytics in the cathode bias preamp valves? I don't know, mate. I don't know. I've not had, as I say, I've not had the chance to kind of delve inside it. It's just at the moment it's out of action, and I don't have the time available to investigate why. But luckily, I bought the blue guitar amp to basically because I wanted one, you know, and you know, I bought the blue guitar amp before the Marshall decided to go bye-bye. And thankfully it arrived, you know, kind of a couple of days before the Marshall decided to go on strike. So I've just been using that ever since, and I'm still having fun with the new toy. Basically, I'm still having fun getting this. And as I say, it's got two very Marshall-y channels on it. It's got the vintage channel, which is like a properly good plexi sound on it. And the classic channel, and you know, it's not got any kind of you know, over the top complex, you know, swappable impulse responses or anything like that. You just got a 1/4-inch jack recording output, and that's going straight into the interface, and it sounds absolutely killer. In many ways, it reminds me, especially on the excuse me, just topping me vape up. It reminds me of the old Marshall JMP1 that so many people still use. I mean, Jamie Humphreys, you know, I remember seeing him talking on a YouTube video where he talks about he still uses the JMP1, and he still uses just the speaker compensated recording output because it just works. And you know. Let's have a look. Let's see. Oh, Timothy's off. Time to head off to work. Well, have a good day at work, mate. Michael Purcell, with your electronic skills, could you build a signature effects pedal? Probably, but my electronic skills, though, were not with audio electronics. I studied how to be a merchant navy radio officer, so it was all about radio circuitry and just very, very, very sketchy, you know, stuff on like equalization and I did build a fuzz pedal back in the day when I was at college. Built it in, and you know, managed to build it into a tobacco tin, you know. So that might be a thing to do. But the main thing I lack here is other tools and the equipment, you know, in order to kind of build anything or to do anything of an electronics nature. You're probably going to need an oscilloscope. You're probably going to need some kind of frequency some spectrum analyzer or something like that, just because you're looking to kind of build an audio-based circuit, and I simply don't have the tools or the space to put them, to be honest. Budget Guitar Show is saying, I have the Marshall Bass 12, but I can't get any gain tone out of it. Is that a bass amp though, Johnny? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that model, mate. Rent-A-Kill is saying, how is Dougal, bless him? Well, I can show you how Dougal is. Look at the back of my hand there. Can you see the that occurred on the afternoon walk this afternoon, when he had a dead something in his mouth. Not sure what it was, but it had fur and bones, and he decided he was going to that would make a rather nice snack. So I sort of disagreed with him and managed to get it out of his mouth, but that was the result, unfortunately. He is a high energy dog, and he doesn't mean to be kind of vicious or anything. He isn't vicious, but he's as I say to the missus, he's like a shook up bottle of fizzy pop, and the energy has to come out somewhere or other, and if you're on the receiving end of it. He is, as I say, going in for a little operation. He's going to be losing a couple of ounces from between his back legs very soon, and hopefully that will calm him down a bit. Wouldn't calm me down if I woke up and found them not there, but hey, I'll bow to the vet's superior wisdom on that one. Anyway, excuse me while I top up. Here we go. Did Dougal get the snip yet? No, because he's on the waiting list. But our local vets has closed, unfortunately. That's the one that's within walking distance. And they're in partnership with there's the company that owned that vet owns like a bunch of other vet surgeries around the area. So we've been transferred to one of the other practices, but it's a bit of a schlep to get there. So I tried registering with another local vet that is within walking distance, and they said, "Oh no, you're already registered with another vet. We can't take you on. Call us back at the end of the year. We might be able to help you." So I said, okay, so you don't want my custom now, but you might want my custom if I'm lucky towards the end of the year. So do you have any idea how condescending and patronizing that comes across? And, they didn't, basically. Let's have a look, see what else we've got. Dash Shaft is saying, the pain in the bum with pedals is making your own PCBs. It's a pain you're limited to single-sided layout. I only managed to make one double-sided PCB that lined up perfectly. Oh, gosh, you're bringing back all kinds of memories there, mate. I remember being at college and we had to kind of make our own circuit boards, where you as I recall, you get the copper-coated circuit board, raw board, and then you kind of tape over where you want the connections to be, where you want the kind of like the wiring to be effectively, and then you dip it in acid and it kind of eats the tar away from something like that. I can't remember, but gosh, it's 35 years ago since I did it. But yeah, I've never made my own circuit board. Anything I've done like that, I always did on, the old peg boards, if anybody remembers those, where you get the, And sorry, we're getting really nerdy electronics here. John, read the post by Paul Bush. Wow, bless him. Let's scroll up and find the post by Paul Bush. Where are we? Paul Bush is saying, hi, John from Austria. I have a new Marshall ECC 83. It's yours if you want it. Bought many years ago from my Marshall amp. Long sad story. Paul, I tell you what, mate, thank you. Thank you so much for your generous offer. but I have already ordered the valves for the Marshall. Ping me an email, and we can kind of talk about about it if necessary. But I'll let you know when the valves turn up. My email address, by the way, jrguitartuition@gmail.com, which is also the email address if you want to get in touch with me for like the Wednesday's viewers questions, kind of video sort of stuff like that. Deco dude saying I had an Afghan hound pup. It was mental. Yeah, this is the thing. It's thick end of 20 years since me and Jackie have had a puppy. We had our last dog Taylor, who sadly left us in May last year. He was a year old when we got him, and he lived till he was 11. So we got him in 2012, and the last dog before that was that was another border collie, and we got her in 2004. So it's 19 years since we've had a puppy, and it is bringing back memories about just how how crazy puppies can be. What is the average age of us all put together? I reckon it works out as John's age. Well, I'm 56, mate. I don't know. I look at my YouTube analytics every now and again. I don't know why I bother, because it's not going to affect the way I do things. I'm not going to kind of start becoming a focus group kind of person. But my largest demographic is blokes of a certain age, 35 to 70, basically. I see we're getting we're getting a few ages put in here. 66 on March the 4th, 62, 67, 63, 41. Fortnite and what's that? Fortnite and mumble rap for the Zoomer audience. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is, mate. Just, I have no idea. I ain't down with the kids, and I'm not going to pretend that I am. There is nothing more cringeworthy, I think, than the bloke in late middle age who pretends that he's he can kind of converse with the 19-year-olds. It's thing is, I wasn't ashamed of being a teenager when I was a teenager. I'm buggered if I'm going to be ashamed of being in late middle age when I'm in late middle age. It's just time marches on, and you change as a person as it does. Curtis Lee saying 67 on the outside, still 12 on the inside. Yeah, the thing is, I mean, I'm 56, but I don't feel a day over 38, which is a nice age, 38, because you're grown up and you're mature enough, but, the kind of the rot hasn't set in yet. Do you know what I mean? So, you could say 41. That big 40 isn't a big deal for me. It wasn't a big deal for me. But yeah, it's just a number, isn't it? You just feel the way you feel. I mean, I like me beer. I don't care that I've got a double chin anymore. I don't care that my hair departed many years ago. Actually, it's actually starting to come back now, though. If I were to stop shaving, it would be I'd have a full head of hair. But I kind of I've got used to seeing this when I look in the mirror. Anyway, let's Budget Guitar Show is saying, I've never been my age. One of my peers like Jordan, Katie Price. I like Mary Millington. Oh, dear me. I think you're revealing a little bit too much about your private video collection there, Johnny, to be honest. Ian Mason is saying, I'll have the amp if you don't want it. I'm going to give it another chance, mate. Yeah. Rob Anderson is saying, have you tried out Jet guitars? Think of picking up one of their Strats. I think I have tried Jet guitars. I might be completely wide of the mark here, but I'm told reliably that Faisley guitars and Jet guitars come off the same production line. I've never tried a guitar that's branded as a Jet guitar, but it's, I don't know. One brand I am curious about checking out, strangely, because I don't normally like this sort of thing, are Slick guitars. The reason I find myself surprised is because they all come as standard with relic finishes, and that's not my cup of tea usually. But we shall see. I don't know. Anton, once married, you can let yourself go. As my old fella said, he says, you don't run after a bus you've already caught, do you, son? Cylon Hybrid is saying, once broken, you cannot trust it. Plus, it's not a proper amp. Oh, I would have to disagree with you there. I don't know why you're saying it's not a proper amp. It's a 1-watt Marshall valve combo. And it does that whole kind of cranked Marshall sound at a volume level that you couldn't gig with. But then again, I don't gig, and I have no plans to. It's meant as a studio/home recording amp, and in that context, it sounded absolutely immense. It just kind of didn't. It had Marshall levels of reliability. So there you go. Earl Slick is a pal of yours, is he, Johnny? You should get him on your channel, mate. Where was that? Where was it? Oh, there we go. That was the comment I meant to click on. That's Earl Slick. I know it's Earl Slick's company. Earl Slick, fantastic guitar player. One of those kind of guys who's he's never ever been centre stage, but he's always been kind of top of the list of the guys to call for people who are centre stage. He's always been. Bowie's used him loads of times, hasn't he? And a bit like Andy Fairweather Low in that sort of kind of same sort of vein. He's one of those guys that just gets the job done and isn't interested in hogging the limelight. Steve Cassidy, what you saying, mate? Jet and Faisley guitars made to the exact same spec in the same factory by the same team. Got a video series on my channel about it. Oh, I shall have to check that out, mate. Let's have a look. Okay, Johnny. Right. Well, yeah. Get him on your channel, and that'd be brilliant. Stuart Young saying Slick mid-year well before Ultravox. Yes, I remember Slick. Sort of the pound shop Bay City rollers, weren't they? Let's see what else we've got to talk about in the last couple of minutes. Peter Shields is saying to me, and don't beat me up, a relic guitar is just an excuse for a crap finish. I get the point that some people say about relic guitars is that they have a nice satin played in feel. So why not just offer the guitars with a satin feel? The one that really kind of irritates me, but infuriates me, is the vintage kind of greeny guitar, the Lemon Drop. You can either buy that with a lovely satin finish, but it looks like it's been buried in a peat bog for 40 years, or you can buy it with like a really kind of plasticky kind of polyester gloss finish. You know, if they would just do the sort of halfway between where it's got the satin finish, but it doesn't look like it's been kind of dragged behind a motorbike for kind of 2 miles. And on that note, chaps, we are coming up to the hour mark, and I'm starting to get hungry, and what goes in must come out. That is always a governing factor on the length of these live streams. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Yes, a kebab tonight, Boulder. Indeed. I'm going to go full Donna tonight. So I'm going to wrap things up there. Thank you once again, everyone, for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute cobblers for an hour. It's been a blast, and I'll keep on doing it until you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.